I love to come to a place like this old church house. Actually, one of the reasons I really like it is because during the early days of the history of the United States, these places were not called churches, they were called houses of prayer. And so people wouldn't say, well, we're going to church on Sunday. They would say, we're going to the house of prayer. And you know, the church should be a house of prayer. And the church should be a place where we come together and we encourage one another. And so relationships become very important. And we find that there's a direct tie between our relationships with people and the way we pray. And it's so many times we sort of put the two in two different categories, but they really work together. And especially in a husband-wife relationship. I can remember my wife and I, early on in our marriage, we made a decision, and that decision was that we would never go to bed at night when we had some kind of conflict between us, that we would resolve that conflict before we went to sleep. Well, we've done that most of our married life, but I can remember one time when we didn't do that. And we went to bed and we had some kind of argument. I don't remember what it was about, but I do remember this. She was wrong and I was right. At least that's what I thought. And we went to bed that night and we were kind of at odds with each other, and the strangest thing happened. She fell asleep with the peace of God that passes all understanding. And I was miserable. Now remember, I'm the one who's right and she's wrong. And I'm arguing with God, and I'm saying, God, why is this? She's the one that ought to be awake. I ought to be asleep. And the Lord spoke to my heart and He said, you don't get it, do you? It's your pride. It's you. You are the problem, not her. I woke her up and I said, honey, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. She said, huh? And she said, okay. And she fell back asleep. But I tell you what, I found peace. And you know, so many times we try to pray and we wonder why God seems so far away. It may be that there's a broken relationship. And you need to go and make that relationship right. That's what Jesus meant when He talked about going to the altar. And He said, before you bring your gift to the altar, go and make it right with your brother or your sister. And many of us need to make it right with other people. And so if you want to have power in prayer or intimacy with God, you've got to have those relationships straight. So if there's a broken relationship, go back, make it right, and then come to the altar and watch what God will do in your heart and life. You'll find intimacy with Him.